The Israel-Gaza conflict, a protracted and deeply complex struggle, has once again erupted into violence, casting a shadow over the region and drawing global attention. This latest escalation is rooted in decades of tension, animosity, and failed peace efforts, with both sides suffering immense losses. However, much of the international focus has centered on Israel's actions in Gaza, which many view as a disproportionate response, resulting in significant violations of the rights and lives of Gaza's civilian population. Gaza, a small and densely populated strip of land, has long been at the center of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Governed by Hamas, a group designated as a terrorist organization by Israel and many Western nations, Gaza has faced repeated cycles of conflict with Israel. The recent flare-up began, as so often before, with a mix of political tensions, provocations, and retaliations that quickly spiraled out of control. Israel, citing the need to defend itself from rocket attacks launched by Hamas and other militant groups, initiated a series of airstrikes targeting what it claimed were military sites, weapons caches, and leadership positions within Gaza. However, the scale and intensity of these strikes have drawn severe criticism. Entire neighborhoods have been reduced to rubble. Vital infrastructure, such as hospitals and schools, has been damaged or destroyed, and countless civilian lives have been lost or upended. The humanitarian impact on Gaza's people has been catastrophic, already living under a blockade that severely restricts the movement of goods and people. The population of Gaza has been subjected to intense bombardment, leaving many without access to basic necessities such as clean water, electricity, and medical care. The blockade, coupled with the destruction from airstrikes, has exacerbated the already dire living conditions in Gaza, pushing the region closer to a full-blown humanitarian crisis. International human rights organizations have accused Israel of violating international law by engaging in collective punishment, a practice where civilians are punished for the actions of a few militants. Reports have highlighted the deaths of women, children, and the elderly, who were either caught in the crossfire or targeted in strikes that lacked proportionality and precision. The destruction of residential buildings, the displacement of thousands of families, and the targeting of civilian infrastructure have raised serious concerns about the legality and morality of Israel's military actions in Gaza. While Israel argues that it has the right to defend itself against rocket attacks and that Hamas uses civilians as human shields, thereby complicating military operations, the overwhelming force used in Gaza has led many to question the ethics and long-term strategy of Israel's approach. Critics argue that such tactics only deepen the despair and resentment among Palestinians, perpetuating a cycle of violence that harms both sides and makes peace increasingly elusive. The international community has been divided in its response. While some nations staunchly support Israel's right to defend itself, others have condemned the scale of its military operations in Gaza, calling for an immediate ceasefire and an end to what they see as violations of human rights. Protests have erupted around the world, with many people demanding justice for Gaza's civilians and an end to the occupation and blockade that have left Gaza isolated and impoverished. The Israel-Gaza conflict remains one of the most intractable and polarizing issues in global politics. The latest violence is a tragic reminder of the deep divisions and the human cost of this seemingly endless conflict. As the world watches, the people of Gaza continue to bear the brunt of the violence, living in a state of fear and uncertainty, with little hope for a peaceful and just resolution in sight.